There was a time income fluctuation, oh my gosh, would completely shift my state in a moment. And this is the thing, nothing dramatic has happened. Yet my body will be acting like something was collapsing, something was like happening. And that thing, like it would just run me down. But here's the thing, it doesn't anymore. And I really just want to talk about, like as freelancers, right? Where, money comes in and like, you don't, like for me anyway, a lot of my job could be subcontracted, like via agencies or whatever, than having the direct places and things like that. And there used to be times where there'd just be high in like opportunities coming in and stuff like that. And then what would I do? I'll go and overcommit myself. In a season when I was training, like I had seen the power of what, this transformation has happened to me, like really tapping in and getting my identity locked in and all these things and evolving and working on that. And I would like, money's flowing, things were happening. And in this season we were in, and I overcommitted myself in the opportunities that I wanted to like get into. And then something happened where the family dynamics, the income coming in just kind of like got affected. And now I am here doing my thing, working, and then committed to this programs that I'm in, right? And with that, now knowing that the income that is coming in now might not cover this new venture that I'm like committed myself to. But this is the thing, the payments are still due. Even if the income is slow, even if things have changed, even like all those things, people still need bills still needs to be paid, regardless, you know. And it was one of like in that season, I tell you, I was in hyper mode. I was like, and again, I was just doing work that sometimes like being dyslexic and having not officially diagnosed as ADHD, but the tendency, I did a Dr. Amen's online thing and like, then you are kind of like thing. So, but the official, because anyway, another thing for another time. I have those tendencies. I could run, like just me and the job, let's go. Do. But now when it comes to like putting in the work, like the invoice in or the timesheet in, all those things, oh my goodness. I'm not always on board with that. Like that side, like, yeah, needed work, and it's like a huge thing. My husband's even saying, like, you can outsource this thing. It's like it's not something that you can just say, here's my thing, go like give someone like that didn't work for me. Okay. But what this thing did, it gave me anxiety. And it wasn't really about the money, it was about the structure. My the capability of the mental workload of like, okay, this job's coming in. Okay, I have this thing in. I need to put the paperwork in. My system was in a mess. And the nature of the type of jobs I do, and some agencies like the clauses they put in 28 days, if you don't send in your invoice, you lose your money. I have done the work and now I'm losing money. Like the craziest thing. Or we will start reducing how much you're getting. Or if that lapse, okay, that one agency was like nothing, you get nothing. I'm like, what? Another one's like, okay, you don't get it, but we'll charge you for admin fees to like process it. At least that one's better, right? And then you have the one where you're outsourced and then they're coming to ask you for work to do the work, right? So now you have to send the invoice to a company and then like, like small companies, big company, whatever it is, they don't always stick to the like timeline. Or okay, we send it 30 days in, and then you have to then keep replying and then sending like all these extra charges. Look, it was now becoming too much. Because here's the thing, there's a difference between the panic and adjustment, right? And I was such in a state of just heighten how much is coming in. I don't know how much I'm going to get at the end of the month. I just know I've done work and I've put it in. Like some agencies, they're so on board, like clockwork, you send it in, you know you're getting it. Some it's like it's a dance to know when that is going to be. So at the end of every month is a case of like waiting to the last day to see how much did I actually make so that I can then see it's enough to pay people. Imagine living in that state. And then on top of that, you have to keep sourcing, looking for work and going and still trying to get more workload in. And I always have this running joke that is always in around that end of the month, beginning of the month. Like I am so like I overwork. Like I'm there grabbing as if doing the work at that moment will bring relief in the next. The thing our bodies and mind do just to kind of like support us in the like okay this let's just okay now we're like the attention is on that now. So like we're now looking at the opportunity is now coming on doing the work, and it's just yeah. So for the longest time, I had this trend where around that time of this feeling, I'm working more in that time as well. It's so weird, and like you just go and one doesn't think that okay this is normal. We just flow like yeah it is what it is. At the same time, still feeling this feeling. I'm like, why? And sometimes, like, there was even season, because I remember one time where I had one of my main places where I was like getting work from just said, oh, we don't need you anymore. And this was like we're about to enter the slow season and things were like dried out. Oh my goodness. Did my nervous system went on overdrive with the worry, with the how are we gonna do this? Like it was a panic. And then the programs I was in and the things I was doing, I still had to pay. But I wasn't fully present in those spaces because I had to go sourcing for and doing double and extra just to be able to pay. So it now became a season of I was just working to pay for those programs. Not that I was fully being present or using the program. And it became this thing where it was like, oh, okay, I'm there trying to learn, do the thing. At the same time, let's go and do the work and get some more coins in so that we can pay this in. And then it just it wasn't landing. It wasn't happening because of like what was showing up for me and how I was handling it not very well because of the feeling of how things were. And this would happen every single month, month in, month out. I'll start feeling weight, even when things were now becoming a bit stable and things were already fine. Still, I will still feel those waves. And knowing me, like, okay, now let's start having structures, let's start doing stuff and trying to make things work. For some reason, that side of things, finances, was not my strong point in like what's coming in and what's going out, having a structure. Like now, with what's happening now is I had to start rewiring myself as someone who has the capacity and who can hold her money and do other stuff. And but mind you, when all these things is happening, I'm still running a home. I'm still like getting feeding. Like all those things were still happening that I still had to like function with this feeling and carrying all this burden on me. So getting to the point of like this panic that I'm doing every time and then trying to adjust myself because it wasn't working. Like having this feeling of like I am physically like sick. If I survive, it's always a case of like if I survive this weekend, if this see like this end of like whatever that is, and then it's like oh, and then I had to like sit down and say, Nene, it's not if I'll survive. You always survive it. Whatever happens, what's the worst that would happen? Some bill might not be paid. You then might have some, I don't know, whatever on your credit, like all those things. And that knowing the worst started giving me some lightness to myself. So I started rewiring how I wanted to be and handle myself in terms of this season, when this season come in and like when I start noticing like, "Ooh, okay, we're feeling that way now. Let's come calm ourselves down and like hang in there and then start using tools that I have to just like refocus myself. And I started understanding like, look, in terms of managing and what's the easiest option and like for least stressful thing for me right now. For the longest time, it's been, I would say almost 10 years or so, or thereabout, that I just decided that, you know what, the easiest thing for me is to go with and work with organizations and um, companies that I know it's like clockwork. You do the work, you put the timesheet invoice in, you get paid the next month. Whether that be a month's time, 2 weeks, or whatever. And just let go of the ones that I physically have to send in their invoice. I have then to check on if they've paid me. Because there was a season when I sent in an invoice, I didn't even know. 3 months in, I've not gotten the money. And I've done the work. And they've even forgotten that I did the work. And I'm still here not being paid by it. And then having to chase them and remind them that, yeah, we did that work. And there was even an occasion where I did the work, sent the stuff in. I went back and did another one without being paid for that. So I made the decision that that kind of work is no longer my my portion, I would say. Like it just, even though it was like it gave the opportunity to be in certain places and comfort, like whatever that is, knowing me and knowing how I roll, like chasing and creating and doing the invoice, it was just becoming such bothersome. It was becoming like such a headache that I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, the thought of like I have to do that invoice now. Oh, it's like it just gives me that and then chasing and yes, we could have like all this that is not my strong point. So me and then to think about how can I outsource this, it just wasn't making sense to say, okay, my husband like just outsource, like find someone to do like, like look, it's not something because I would have to tell them, okay, this is the job I did, this is it, and then I just made a decision that I'm not going to be doing those kind of jobs anymore. Like the ones that I would require like direct payment, except the ones that I know that um I like the work. I feel that it's gonna be fun, and I'm very mindful and I've made the rule that as soon as I've done the job, put it in, and then like put in a calendar 30 uh, days later, check to make sure. If not, it's not going to happen. But when you're constantly doing so much, there's only so much reminders and so much things you have to be doing that I'm like, I'm good. I don't need that kind of work. And get messages like even I'll get messages on DM like, can you come and like work for me? And so there's this thing called access to work where they like they would have a budget, and in that budget you can claim via the government to claim be paid through this individual person's budget. And there's just so much. And I haven't done that kind of work, access to work, booking, like say 10 years, because it's just too much. So I'd rather go to a place where I know what I'm getting. And at the end of the month, at the end of the order, like it's done. Even with that, there is still kind of like, um, what's the deal? So I cutting back on all those kind of like jobs that would be such headache in terms of chasing and just simplifying myself. Start regulating myself and checking in, adjusting, and knowing that, okay, this is what suits me. This is the way that I want to roll. And then having that realization that, okay, that would have been great because with the ones that you have to invoice and stuff like that, the kind of work there and the exposure, great. I just realized, you know what? I am in this season now of a medical community interpreter. It works for me in this season. And yeah, because I feel more calmer. Like I know, even when things are like in and out, like yes, 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 these people, I know they pay. You've heard that statement when they say, show me who you are, and I'll believe you. There's certain agencies that they've like I've put in the work and they haven't paid. And I get it. Some of them are like probably new or like not structured or like they have no clueless. They're probably like me, but they're an agency or whatever it is in terms of like having and I just like, you know what, I ain't doing that no more. I can't be chasing. So we do less. I call them like my filler bookings. So I have like the ones that are my structure. These are the main people I say yes to, and then we work together, we do our thing. And the other ones are just kind of like, oh yeah, I have a space that I can do you. It's not regular. One in a blue moon, we do one, we don't do one. And that just works for me in just supporting how it rolls and just having the reassurance of myself that, you know what, everything works out for me, kind of like thing. And so when I'm in that time frame, I tend to say that phrase a lot. Everything just works out for me. And this helps to regulate how I'm feeling, regulate what's happening for me. And because in regular income was triggering triggered my regular anxiety. And then having phrases and things that I do to just help me in that season. That when I started, oh, we just gone past that thing and I am cool. Did I celebrate that my anxiety has just like, yeah, chill. So that's the phrase that I tend to use around that period when I know, okay, it's the end of the month's coming, bills are gonna come start saying hi, and like I actually like just chunk them around the same time or stuff like that. And it's like everything is always working out for me. It's always working out. And then having the realization that, okay, I might have committed myself to courses and programs and things like that. And then being in a season of like, you know what? I have done so much training, like spent so much. And now it's time for implementation. And I will only go in and do something else if I know not with the hoping and wishing, but what is the thing that I'm going to get when I do this program? What I get this course? What is that for me? How am I, is it a feeling I'm going to get? Like, is it a practical thing? Without that knowing, I'm not jumping in. And if I know that in the medium income that is coming in, that I cannot sustain this thing regularly, then I have no business in going in to do that program or going in to do whatever. If the regular income I can't, then this is not the time to start giving myself some extra anxiety, you know? Because this is the thing, it became that it wasn't that I wasn't irresponsible, I was just overextended. I had overextended myself thinking because I didn't truly have a clear number. So it got to there was a season where I would like put down like what I'm making, the average, and then like work it out and like have like, okay, so this is how much is a week. Okay, now this so I started using that as a bar measure thing for okay, what I could do in this. And then knowing when the quiet season are, the peak season, when the all those things, having that like the awareness of that and using that also helped with the anxiety in those season in that period of time. It totally helped because if not, I would have been still to now constantly, going and feeling. And yeah, it's one of those things that it just it was a time. And because authority isn't like an emotional suppression thing. It is a structural maturity when you can really structure yourself and know that okay, this is what's coming in. This thing I'm doing here is the income producing activity, and this is the impact like having those structures. Like I have to do this. I have to like get this tally in. This is kind of like the areas that I can work in, and going here is just eating in on the travel time and whatever thing is having those numbers, knowing that these are like my main people, and deciding that no, we're good. Anxiety reduced when the structure improved for me. When I started having those structures in there, even with my scattered brain of the crunchiness, like all the tabs that are open in my head, having the structure that I have, even though it might not be like perfect or 100 or whatever, there is structure in that season has helped me chill, has helped me calm my nervous system and understand that, okay, this, because doing the work and then thinking about the money are like, ugh. So I don't force them now. I just, I get it to just do his thing, land, and yeah, and structure yourself. If not, I will still be in that season of daily. Okay, how much did we make this month? Like, what's the like? Yeah. Now there is a picture. There's an understanding of what that gets to look like when I have like put in my thing, my numbers. I have a ball idea what that gets to be like next. So that has truly helped and truly um worked for me because the numbers didn't change overnight. I did by committing to doing it, by putting in the work to know that okay, this is what gets to be, and just reassuring myself and my nervous system so I'm not in that feeling of like whatever. Yeah, because I'm a free spirit, you could say, when it comes to the numbers like that. Yeah. And this is the thing, because when we become steadier, life feels less threatening. When we have somewhat like structure, even if it's flexible, whatever it is, we have that. we're not in that heightened state. Like for me anyway, I'm like, I'm not because I have a ball idea. I now know that okay, I'm not leaking out money and losing money because I'm like not doing that. And the agencies that have those clauses, I make sure I have a thing now. Before I used to have like weekly, at the end of the week, I make sure I send everything off. Now I'm wanting to just do it on the day. Even with the restriction of some of them, it's like, oh, like sometimes like you might be booked for an hour and a half, and they only use it for like 40 minutes, whatever. But because the way their system is locked in for to the end of that duration they booked you, you can't sign off. And then it's like off to the next. So it's having those creating systems and habits in place where, okay, at the end of the day, get it done, get it signed off before one goes to bed or to sort things out so that it will just help. If not, I will forget. I like things like having those kind of things begins to just calm me down, even when it feels like, okay, this is not. Hmm. And then with the structural thing, I've had opportunities where things have been paused, things have been like extended to when things flow. Let me finish this one. We'll go on to like that kind of thing has also helped me to just be regulated, to be fine, have support where someone's like, when things are flow. So all those things happen. And so the growth is happens inside responsibility, inside knowing what my capacity is to hold right now, what I can and cannot do. That's where the growth is happening for me, is having that and knowing, and then knowing that, okay, actually some of these things I've committed to, it might not happen. And sometimes you might lose. You might lose money, you might lose the season. But I do know that whatever it is, most of these things will come back. There's always going to be another opportunity. There's always going to be another round. And if it's not, then it wasn't meant to be. Because what's happening inside, being responsible, and also being an example for my kids, right? For others who are watching and seeing how you're handling things and how you're being in different season. So that as well is just how we're building this season of juggling the ball and making sure this is coming in, that's not like happening. And yeah, it's such evolution time as we're building this in real time. And yeah, I'm Nene. We do this every single day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.